Can you tell the difference between supermarket and butcher quality meat? And if so, how much difference?
Oh! Yes! I'm the chef!
There's nothing worse than eating with a blindfold on.
Boys, the first one is in front of you. A and B. If you both work on A first, they're on a board each, if that helps you.
Oh, that's a familiar shape.
Hello.
Tuck in. We should stress both A and B have been prepared and cooked identically.
Oh no, this is going to be embarrassing. I don't even know what meat it is.
What? That's a chicken. Surely that's a chicken drumstick.
Yeah, it is.
So it's got a light tandoori spice on it. Garam masala, smoked paprika, chili powder, some oil. It had an overnight marinade and then quite a high oven roast. And it's also served there with a nice dip.
I think I need a B comparison to know what I'm tasting with A.
I agree.
Remember, one of these is a supermarket, kind of mid-range supermarket option. And the other one is a high street butcher. What is it you're looking for when you buy chicken drumsticks? What do you say is the ideal, and are you finding that in either?
Chicken drumsticks are usually the cheaper cut.
Yep.
And therefore I know I'm going to be adding a lot of flavour to them. I'm not actually too concerned about how much flavour is coming through from the chicken, but I would like them to be quite juicy.
I feel like you want a decent amount of meat on them. I think if I'm buying a chicken drumstick, I'm probably going to be pulling the meat off it.
Oh.
And putting it through something again.
Any closer to working out which of those two is the premium? And in this instance, we're talking about the most expensive. And in all cases today, that is the premium butcher rather than the supermarket alternative. Both locked in?
Yes, chef.
Take off your blindfolds and see if visually anything gives it away.
I'll put my glasses on.
We made a mess.
We did make a mess. Visually, there is a difference on these two here. Obviously, I don't know what these ones look like before we chomped away at them.
And every leg is slightly different.
But that one looks meatier to me.
It does.
Than that one.
But that one felt like it had more moisture to it. Weirdly, what I've based my answer on is that I often find more premium chicken can be a little drier. Like, it's slightly smaller, maybe the flavour is more intense, but it can be drier.
And tougher, in the same if it's run around and had a free-range life, it's going to work those muscles. Well, that was just for observation, because you're not allowed to change your answer anyway. Let's see what you scribbled down when we asked you to pick the premium. 3, 2, 1.
A.
B.
You've both chosen different premiums. Explain yourself.
For me, the juicier, more flavoursome chicken was B, but now you've said what you've said, that could also be true.
We picked...
It doesn't mean you're right.
We picked different things for the same reasons.
Yeah, it doesn't make you... It makes you right in the quiz, it doesn't make you right in terms of what to buy.
Well, I can reveal that of those two boards, the premium drumstick is A. James takes a point.
Interesting.
Now, what you've actually got there, A is from Michael's Meats, which is a local butcher, family run since 1976. Over 500 ratings with a 4.8 star out of 5. So a highly rated local butcher to here that delivers. Whereas B is Marks and Spencer's Class A chicken. It's their Oakham Gold chicken drumsticks. We've mentioned it before, Marks and Spencer have won awards for their animal welfare, so it's definitely one of the higher end of the supermarkets. But this is their indoor chicken. It is slower reared, fed on an enriched multigrain diet, and it is Class A, which is basically the highest quality grade for poultry meat.
You say indoor bred, not free range.
Indoor bred, yes, but from producers inspected to RSPCA welfare standards, and the chickens still get 20% more space than industry norm.
I think I've been conditioned to look for certain words when I buy meat. I look for things like free range when it comes to chickens and to eggs, and it's just autopilot now for what I look for.
That's probably good conditioning.
Yeah.
Because I feel like 20% of industry standard is still a low standard.
It's very true, we're not going to get into it, but when you look at the nuts and bolts of how many chickens you can raise per square metre, it's a lot. That's why it's slightly juicier, slightly more succulent, and why you both preferred it as an eating experience. Yeah. Even though, James, you took a point by spotting that the more premium, the finest chicken from Michael's Meats was A. Price-wise, Marks and Spencer's, the cheaper option of these, at £3 a kilo, whereas Michael's Meats was $5.99.
It really requires some mind maths for me because I preferred the eating experience of that one, and the thought of paying twice as much for something I'm not going to like as much, but it's been better treated. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, you've been conditioned to look for free range, but you've also been conditioned with unsustainable prices.
Yeah,
so
completely.
you're so used to paying that price that a chicken should never be.
James, you take a point.
Yeah.
We move in to round 2. Number 2, board of meat.
Oh, there's a dip in the middle again, Joe.
Is there? Where?
2 bowls in the middle
There.
this time.
Oh, there's 2.
I found a board over here.
This is so weird. There's nothing worse than eating with a blindfold on.
The other end of the
front of
board
the
might be
camera.
easier for you, James.
Oh, there's smaller bits.
Again, A and B. One is supermarket, one is a butcher that we've been able to order online. We all heard it.
Have we got pork belly, Evers?
That is indeed pork belly. In both instances, prepared identically, basically cooked overnight at 63 degrees Celsius. And then today, we put it in a really hot oven, about 240 degrees for 15 minutes or so to crisp out the top. And all we've done this time is a little bit of salt on top. Yep, move on to B. In the middle, you've got some sauerkraut and some maple barbecue glaze.
Have you got something in your hand?
I've got B in my hand.
I was guiding you to be.
I don't need guidance to pork belly. The pork belly finds me.
This is chaos. Ooh, less fatty?
Still hearing a crunch. But any differences on taste, texture?
I think it's a deeper porker flavour. I also think when you say less fatty, I think the crackling is thicker because it's got the bite, but then it's got a bit more of a chew to it as well.
There was like a definite layer of fat separating 2 bits of meat on the first one, whereas that one, there wasn't quite so much.
Scribble down A or B. Boys, you've both locked in an answer. Let's see what you got. 3, 2, 1.
B.
B.
You both think the butcher is B. Why?
I think it was that more intense porky flavour. I think the fact that that was fattier made me just believe that that might be more premium, but I really don't know.
I can reveal that the more premium option from the butcher was A.
I am not doing well.
A is from Turner and George, so it's a butcher in Angel, just up the road from us. And this particular belly, it's a native breed, reared outdoors, small British farms, and therefore ethically sourced and free from growth promoters, hormones, antibiotics, and animal cruelty. But more importantly, I think in points of difference in cooking, dry aged for a minimum of 10 days. So that skin really dries out.
The crackling was better on that one.
Yeah.
Whereas B, Sainsbury's British pork boneless belly joint. It's reared on Sainsbury's trusted farms, Red Tractor certified farms. And they say sows never confined to sow stalls during gestation and are housed in groups to encourage natural behaviour.
I preferred that. That was my favourite. But I thought that tasted more porky.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating that when we talk about chicken and we talk about pork, we tend not to, in the broad scheme of things, go down to breed. And obviously the breed is going to change the taste. B, almost chewy, and you said that, Jay, but it kind of gets stuck in your teeth because it hasn't cooked out in the same cooking because it wasn't air dried for those 10 days. The other advantage of A is just personalisation. You can speak to the butcher and you can ask for how you want it done. We asked for the bones to be cut out so that it ended up exactly the same as B. Now, they still sent the bones, so for the price I'm going to give you, you've actually got these basically spare ribs as well, because they normally sell pork belly bone in. You can spare rib it, you can use the bones for stock, amazing, like ramen broths and things with pork stocks. The supermarket version, £7.50 a kilo, so still a relatively cheap, affordable cut. And Turner and George, £12.50 a kilo.
I'll say that feels worth it when you're looking at these next to each other.
Because we like a fair test, the more expensive premium butcher's one was 66% more in cost, but 37% of that was bone. We did the weights. No points on that one, which means James is still in the lead, which is good news for you, James, because there's a big prize up for grabs. There's a whopping great big, very, very expensive premium butcher's steak at the end.
Well, if I'd known that from the beginning, I'd have tried harder.
Blindfolds on, swivel round. Round 3, A and B. There's no sauce or dipping this time, just enjoy.
I have an A. Hello. Oh.
Oh, where is it?
What do you mean, where is it? Where isn't it?
We should stress the boys have washed their hands.
Cheers.
First of all, have you worked out what you're eating?
Leg of lamb.
Leg of lamb.
Leg of British lamb.
Well, I enjoyed that, but I need to go to B to see if I enjoy it more.
I picked up 2.
Oops.
I think I've got 2.
Oops, James.
This is so hard.
Oh, I think there is a flavour difference, and I also think there's a texture difference.
One of them is a lot more meaty. You kind of have to like use your teeth a little bit to tear through it.
While you guys scribble down A or B, remember you're looking for the butcher. And the thing to remember with British lamb is that whilst they're all born in the spring, they need 6 months before they can be sort of considered lamb, and they don't necessarily want to have had a winter because then they become hogget, and over a year they become mutton. So the best time for British lamb is usually September, October, November, December, maybe scratching into the early new year as we are here, but it's definitely not Easter. Do you want to have a peek since you've locked in an answer?
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
I think we've probably both answered the same.
do you reckon?
I think this is the biggest difference so far. And I think it shows visually as well.
Do you?
Yeah.
Let's flip your boards in 3, 2, 1.
A.
Oh! Really?
A.
I thought B.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the pappy one.
No, A was the pappy one to me.
Well, now I'm not as confident.
No, I thought A had far less bite to it and was more mushy whilst I was eating it. I thought B had a richer flavour.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let me put you out of your misery.
Please, can I still be a chef?
The premium, and therefore the butcher's leg of lamb, is B.
Oh! I'm the chef!
You're the chef! Oh!
You did get them switched around in your hand, you must have done.
No, I didn't. I prefer that.
Let me talk to you about both. So A is a Tesco lamb whole leg joint. It is either British or New Zealand, depending on the time of the year, but at the moment, it's British. Fed on a grass-based diet and cared for with high welfare standards, but not necessarily outside on grass. It's just a grass-based diet. Whereas B is Farmerson & Co. whole leg of lamb. British lamb, grass-fed, free range. It's a heritage lamb chosen from a selection of available breeds, but specifically small holdings in Yorkshire. And Farmerson & Co., they work with farms to produce food sustainability. And there was stark difference when you look at them raw. Okay, so B had a much thicker fat layer over the whole thing. And actually you can see now as you kind of poke it from the top, it is much fattier, which gives you a melt in the mouth kind of rich lamb flavour. Compared to A, which had fat on it and throughout it, lamb is a fatty cut, but not as consistent and thick and layered as the Farmerson & Co. option. The other thing that was noticeable when they were raw is that the Tesco leg of lamb was softer. It was just genuinely softer, whereas the Farmerson & Co. was firmer meat plus that added fat cap. In terms of cooking, it's an expensive cut, so to get the most of it so that every bit is the same, both legs were slow roasted overnight at 60 degrees and then finished in a very hot oven to get some colour just before serving. But that means that you don't overcook the outside before you get the nice pink bit inside. But for the 2.7 kilo leg of lamb, it was, £42. Whereas the Farmerson & Co., the butcher's option, more premium, £68 for a 2.5 kilo leg of lamb.
I think the really big thing that always comes out of these types of videos for me is how much you have to care about where your meat comes from to be prepared to spend that much more for a result that isn't so different that the two of us couldn't tell them apart.
Yeah, true.
Between us.
And the other advantage that you are paying for all these online butchers, the extra information that you're given about the native breeds and the type of lamb and the season of the lamb, right the way down to which small holdings in Yorkshire they come from, all of that comes with knowing your butcher. The good news is, as we go into the final round, it's level pegging a point each. Last round, It's all still to play for. The stakes are high.
Lol.
Oh, I like the sound of that sentence.
Same rules apply. A and B. One is a supermarket. One is a very premium, the most premium online butcher.
I have a...
Hello! Do you want a Lady in the Tramp?
You can have that.
We could blindfold
No, I'm
Lady
good.
in the Tramp.
No.
That has such a lovely, I'm going to say like a dry-aged funk to it.
What cut is it?
If I had to guess, I'd say ribeye, but I don't know.
They are both ribeye steaks, and now you're trying B. Jamie hasn't even finished masticating over his steak, and he's grabbed the board.
Have you? This is the worst one to get wrong, isn't it?
It really is.
Can I just not do it? I know which one I prefer.
Maybe that's where you just have to justify. Okay, blindfolds off. You've both got a chance to have a peek. You're not allowed to change your mind, but would you? As I said, you're not allowed to change your mind, but would you?
I thought that one was great flavour.
Yes.
Really tasty, really well seasoned. I thought that one was melt in the mouth, but the taste was slightly less intense.
I felt like that one tasted of more than just steak.
I thought that one was sweeter. Like it was kind of mellow.
It was mellow.
Sweet.
Let's see what you wrote. 3, 2, 1.
B.
A.
I knew you chose an A. I knew it.
They have divided their opinion
That's
again.
amazing. How have we done that?
I don't
so
know.
many times.
But it
That's
does-
really interesting.
It does mean one of us is going home with a 65-pound steak, did you say?
The one that we haven't cooked.
Yum. That one was just like the marbling was better. Like the fat distribution was more even.
That tasted more like a type of ribeye that I would get in a really nice steak restaurant.
So up until this point, scores were even. It all boils down to this. And I can reveal that in the final round, the premium, or the butcher's ribeye steak, was B.
Yes! Yes!
And let me
Chef!
explain why. A is Waitrose in-store dry aging cabinets. So you go up to the counter and they have Aberdeen Angus 35-day dry aged, and you can ask for it to be cut as thick or as thin as you want to order. That was a 350-gram steak. But Jay, to your point, it's a bit like a steak restaurant. It's probably the one that you're more likely to experience in a steak restaurant in a lot of places. B was from Thomas Joseph Butchers. It's British Wagyu from a golden herd heritage. So ethically raised, lush pastures, and even the feed they do have is grown on the same farm. But specifically, it's the Wagyu breed, which is why, James, you pointed out, it's that marbling of fat all the way through, which tastes incredible. And then when they get to the slaughterhouse, they literally only take the top 1% of cattle for that grade. So even of all the heritage herds, it's still only the top 1% that make it to this. And then it's dry aged for well over the 35 days that we have in A.
That surprises me, and it doesn't, because that tasted more dry aged. Like I got the funk, the umami from that a lot more than I did that. But knowing that that's a Wagyu breed, it is mellower generally, isn't it?
The flavour's really different. And I can see why that's more beefy, aged, intense.
Aberdeen Angus
Maybe that's
versus Wagyu. I think what we've
See
definitely learned today is breed matters across pigs, sheep and beef.
Yeah, because this is just sweet.
Price-wise, both lean into very respected, good welfare beef that's been looked after. The Waitrose Aberdeen Angus steak for the 350 grams, £16.42, whereas the TJB steak, £65 for that, which, James, is your prize.
That's the first time there's ever been a prize for any of these videos.
I'm so angry about it.
No!
So over to you guys. If you like seeing us do these comparisons and you think they're useful, give the video a like, because throughout the spring we're going to try and go on a big streak. And that means how many videos can we get over 15,000 likes per video? That's up to you guys. Keep streaking.